to part 2 of this series on publishing apps to Heroku. So in this version, we're going to do a Rails 4.x app and publish it to Heroku. So we'll use this uh, page on devcenter.heroku.com as a reference. So the first thing to do is to go to your terminal and log in to, well, actually, let's create a folder for our application. We'll call it back office appliances. So cd to back office appliances, and let's log into Heroku. So say Heroku login. So once you're authenticated, you can go to install Rails. So before you do that, just ensure that you have Rails 4.x. So use Rails-V. So it's 4.2.4 in my case. Now, there are steps to upgrade to Rails 4 if you are interested. So we're going to install the gem and use this command, gem install Rails dash dash no dash ri dash dash no dash rdoc. So while that's installing, let me just tell you a bit about the database. So we have to use the same database that's available on Heroku. In this case, it's Postgres. So to install Postgres, there are some steps. So to install Postgres on your local environment, there are some steps listed on this page, where it says Heroku PostgreSQL setup. So I won't actually go through these because I already have Postgres on my machine, but feel free to use that as a reference. So back to our Rails app. So now it's installing Rails, and what we're going to do after it's installed is we'll initialize an app using Rails. So let me just cancel this because I already have Rails on mine. So I'm going to create an app called back office appliances with the database equals PostgreSQL. Okay, so it should say complete. So now we can cd to our folder that was created and open it in your editor. The main file that we're interested in so the main file that we're interested in is the gem file. And note that here it's saying use PG as the database. It also has the version for the Rails that's on your local machine. Anyway, so back to here. So gem PG is already in our gem file, so we don't need to change it. Now we can say bundle install, and that's going to install our dependencies using the gem file. Okay, so bundle install has installed the dependencies. Now we can open our database.yaml file. So go to config database.yaml and observe that the adapter here is called PostgreSQL. It also has the database for your local development version listed as back office appliances underscore development. And there's some additional configuration for test and production environments. Okay, so back to our app. So now what we're going to do is create a controller. So it's going to be a welcome controller. So let's say Rails generate controller welcome. Okay, so it's generated the controller, and it's also generated the stubs for all the views associated with that controller. So if we look under app, views, welcome, so right now there's no index.html over under welcome, so we're going to create one. So let's say index.html.erp, which is a enterprise it's a Ruby template. So inside the Ruby template, we're going to just have some like a hello world text. So copy and paste that. Okay, so the next step is to point the routes to our welcome file. So if we go to config, um, if we go to config routes and look for where it says root welcome index and uncomment that. So it's going to go to the welcome controller and the index view under there. Okay, so the next step is to run the Rails server. So we're going to say Rails server. This should start the Rails server on port 3000. So if we go to our browser and open localhost colon 3000, and you should see the hello world there. Okay, so the next step is to install the 12-factor gem. So that's the gem that Heroku needs, and that does the logging and assets serving on Heroku. So we're going to add that gem to our gem file. So go to gem file, and you can add this right at the end, like that. We could also do it in the syntax that's shown here, where we wrap it at a do end, but since it's just one line, we can leave it as such. Okay, so now we have to run bundle install, which will install the Rails 2-factor gem. So kill the server and say bundle install. Okay, so now the gem is installed. Now we're going to specify the version of Ruby for our app. And if you notice under here, it has the version of Rails, but not the version of Ruby. So first to check which version of Ruby we have locally, we're going to say ruby-v. Now this one has 2.2.2, but we want to be compatible with the version that's on Heroku. So we're going to use this version, which is the version that they've specified. And we'll add this to the gem file. Okay, so now we're going to commit and push our app to Heroku. So let's add all our files to Git. So we need to Git init, and let's add the Git remote. So we're going to create a new repository called back office appliances, and we can just copy the remote from here, and go back to your terminal and paste. Sorry, it's a little slow because of the video. Yeah, so just paste the Git remote URL here. Okay, so now that's done. We can push to Heroku. So we're going to use the Heroku create command, and we're going to push to Heroku. So say Heroku create back office appliances. And now we are going to push first to GitHub. So under the origin URL, Okay, so now that it's on Heroku, we can open this link in our browser. And there it is. So that's all for now, but we'll continue this in the next tutorial.